Good morning, professional photographers of Idaho. I'm Beyond, and good morning, Larry.
Yeah, hey, how you doing?
Well, I'm better now that you're here.
I slid in again about 5 minutes early, so it's all good.
Yeah.
We
already knew what we were talking about today. We've already
so,
talked about that, and I'm excited about what we're going to talk about today. This is born from something somebody said to me this last week.
Yeah.
And he said, "Food with my meal," and I thought about that for a minute. Like, it took me a moment to catch on.
Yeah.
But in the context of what we were talking about, it was really very cool. So.
Well, and it's relevant to everybody, right?
It really is. And
I had a chat with another photographer this morning, as a matter of fact, on this very subject. And then you have another topic coming up that tied into also. We're not going to spoil that right now, but this is all relevant, right? So it's all relevant to your business and how to keep you happy and how to keep your business clients happy and make some money. So.
Well, that's kind of it. So we did a survey this past year. We've got about 45% of our membership are full-time photographers. Another 45% of our membership are part-time photographers.
Mm-hmm.
Part-time professionals, I guess, would be a better way to put that.
Right.
So I think that's like 90% of our members are in it to make money.
Right, correct.
That's a big deal,
It's a big deal, yeah.
So we want to help them along that road to finding some financial freedom and finding success, whatever that looks like to the individual.
The guy I was having a chat with this morning, he came back and said, I didn't realize when I started this that 95% of my photography business was actually the business part. So
that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, but what a true story that is, right? I mean, you got so all of this imbalance, and of course, you'd like to eat also.
I like food with my meal.
That's right. That's right.
So now that I've laid that out there that way, we're talking about profitability, and we're talking about having a successful business. What does that look like to you? Well, for me and my family, we like food with our meal.
Yeah.
So anyway, my friend said this to me this week. I've been trying to get with Derek Pollard. I've had Derek on the show, I think. Or at least I've had Derek to some of our events. Derek is a commercial real estate broker here in town, and he's also a photographer. He shoots his own properties, and he shoots for another realtor who happens to be his mom. So we've done some mentoring, we've done some learning together, and but he's in a BNI group, and he's asked me to join him a few times, and I keep booking over on top of those times, and I feel so bad because when you're in BNI, you are required to bring somebody. And twice I've had to not be there for him. So I was saying, hey, look, if this is super important to you, I can put this client off. But I've been courting this client for 8 months. How long do you talk to somebody before they jump?
Well, that's part of the, he of all people should understand that's part of the food with my meal, right? So you can't. It's all well and good to do the BNIs and all that stuff. That's all well and good. But if you have a client, that kind of takes precedence. So I think you're okay.
So that's what he said.
Yeah.
He said, I like food with my meal too, and you got to go where the money goes.
Yeah.
And we've got a few people on today. Laquita's here. My wife is here.
Good morning, guys.
And they're talking to each other. Laquita just said, "Good morning, Bri." I love the interplay between the people that we have viewing or watching, and
we have a chat session within a chat session.
We do.
It's pretty cool.
I love that. So you know what this is? This is like networking.
Yeah.
And I know, Laquita, you're probably working from home today.
We're just facilitating, bringing them all together.
Yeah, that's the objective, right?
Yeah.
I think maybe that would make a great episode. Like, what's our objective here with the live? We
go down so many rabbit holes. Catching the rabbit.
Okay, catching the rabbit. Laquita, would you just text me catching the rabbit? Because we're going to talk about that one of these days. And but first, I've got two announcements I want to talk about.
Okay.
And one is, let me get back over to our rundown, and I just want to talk about what we've got coming up at the end of the month. All right.
Yeah.
This is for our members and guests. We're going to have a Winterscape fun shoot. This started with talking about naked trees and then turned into let's shoot anything that's out there midwinter at Kleiner Park. So we're going to get together at 4:30 in the afternoon. I did have somebody ask me if this was AM or PM. Come on now.
Yeah, seriously.
There's not much to photograph at Kleiner Park at 4:30 in the morning. So here we are after.
Although I told that person to go ahead and go. and I said.
You totally would.
I did. And I said, whatever you capture, let us know, because I'd be very interested in seeing that. So
that's terrific, man. So anyway, I'm just going to throw Laquita out there. Laquita has done a great job helping us establish a whole range of really fun events for 2023. We've got plans to do an LED shoot. You had some notions on that too.
Yeah.
And then you've got a whole fleet of LED lights. You just shared that with me this week.
Yeah, so I'm throwing this out there to everyone right now, and I probably put it out on Facebook also, but anybody with LED lights, PM me somehow, either text, email, whatever, I don't care. We're not really going to have or in my view of the shoot, and I have to check with Laquita here, we won't really have a single source of like models or a single sort like product or whatever. It's going to be a mismatch. How do you say that?
Mixed bag? Mismatched?
Mishmash? Mishmash, that's it.
You can take that however you want it.
Of subjects and lighting. Now, to do that, of course, we're going to have a fairly big space, and kind of have to know kind of how many. We don't care if you show up the day of. I don't care about that. But if you don't mind, just hop out to ppfidaho.com. It is an event, and if you could just click on the register thing, there's no cost to it at all. That just says, hey, I'm planning on attending.
Yeah.
Or you can, however you want to do it.
We actually have a Facebook event running for this.
Facebook event, yeah.
So there's probably 15 or 20 people that have already expressed interest in joining us.
We just need to know the total amount. Like, if you say, I'm going to go, and you don't show up, don't sweat it. We're not worried about that. We just want to have enough space for everybody in an atmosphere. It won't be outside, that's for sure. And it'll be some sort of atmosphere. So what I'm trying to avoid is a whole bunch of photographers standing around waiting to shoot something.
Shoot one bay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
I get that.
Yeah. So,
I really appreciate that you're thinking about that.
I always think about shit.
So that's coming. That's coming up in February. We've got. We're going to spend some time over at Javino's. It's a coffee and wine bar. The general manager there, Christine,
you had me at wine.
Is what?
You had me at wine.
I had you at wine.
Yeah.
You know what? You had me at either. You had me bring your camera, and there's food, right?
Yeah, true.
But anyway, Christine.
Think of that at coffee. No, I'll give that to Christine. But think of that at a coffee and wine bar, and you got probably the run of the place. So I mean, think about their setups, the glasses they had, the bottles of wine.
It's just a fantastic.
Yeah.
Opportunity to socialize and bring your camera
and bring some money, because we want to make sure that
we want to leave some money in their facility too. Yeah,
doesn't mean you can't have, like, what I'm saying is, like, you have a coffee or whatever while you're there. Okay, let's go back to the owner of that place, Christine.
So Laquita, she texted me. That's great, and. My wife says, sign me up for the wine one. My wife doesn't even have a camera. Well, she does have a camera now. She doesn't run a camera.
Only if you bring your iPhone, and get Bob in some compromised positions.
Oh, no, we don't. No. Anyway, Laquita, she says, Larry, take it and run. Get creative. This will be super fun. Good stuff going on, right? It's just all really good stuff. So anyway, I'm going to throw that slide across the screen one more time. Just so you can make a note of this. I was looking at the numbers for last week's episode, and we had 50 or 60 replay watches of it. So even if you're not here with us live today, and I'm not on that screen to see that, but even if you're not here with us live, you're catching this in replay. So there's some really solid information out there for you to jump onto. Join us on January 28th at Kleiner Park, and then.
And Kleiner Park is, it's a big place, right? So
it's right next to the village too.
So just come on out and join it. Yeah,
you want to go shoot the fountains? Or
we could easily sneak over to the village, which is like 50 feet.
It's just across the road.
So we could easily go over there if you want to shoot architecture. I used to work in Long Wing, which is one of the buildings over there, and there's
I've got clients over there.
Great stuff to shoot in there. So yeah,
good stuff.
Some of those buildings, some of those floors you can't get into, et cetera, but that's fine.
So I'm going to open that up just a little bit, and I want to run our convention ticker while you just lay a little bit of information out there on that.
So don't forget, please save the date. So we've had some people say, we didn't have the date. We have the date. We actually announced it last convention.
We announced it at convention. We announced it all year long on our lives. It's on our Facebook page. It's on our website. I was at the website last night. because I can push the website into this, which is really cool. I was playing with that functionality and realized we should do an episode talking about our website.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah, just help folks figure out where stuff is.
Laquita, that's a good idea. Text Bob. Please.
Text Bob.
Yeah.
To the website episode. I'm going to have a lot to look at afterwards. I can tell.
Bob's phone's going to blow up. He'll think it's clients, but it's not.
It's just more work.
It's more work. Convention, March 31st, April 1st, April 2nd. Our print competition people have been busy. I will tell you that the print competition is 2 weeks before the convention.
I want to just chime in that you mentioned the print competition people. So our chairs are Phil White and Sherry Barron.
Yeah.
And that is no small task.
No. And when I say
all of the categories,
when I say our print competition people, he just mentioned their names. So yeah, a ton of categories. There are some. I would love to throw out some rules for you, but we're
still working on that.
Well, there's some rule changes that we're going through. Minor ones. Nobody panic. And so we'll get that out to you right away. But it will be on. You have to have your images in by March 14th. So by midnight, uploaded to printcompetition.com with the appropriate fee. So don't. Mark that down on your calendar or whatever you have to do. Write down March 14th on a napkin somewhere, and then when you see it later, maybe it'll jog your memory.
Yeah, deadline.
Because the image competition, not print competition, the image competition this year is 2 weeks early, and there's a ton of reasons why we did that. One is we're going to save a ton of money because we don't have to rent the hotel thing for another day, and the second one is our print people can actually enjoy the convention.
The convention
and
too.
That to me is huge. So you got judges, you got Sherry and Phil, all can enjoy the convention without having to sweat for a 12-hour day.
Yeah, well, and we typically do them contemporaneously, and
right.
So what that means is if you're going to have an awards banquet with a slideshow based on what happened at image competition, somebody's doing that physical work of putting that together under that time crunch. So this opens that to the. I do want to comment about the changes or the proposed changes to the rules. All of the changes to our image competition rules have an eye on opportunity.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To engage.
Yeah.
And
none of the and again, like I said, none of it is earth-shattering.
Right.
Don't.
It's just we're just looking at things that can improve access.
We're trying to refine and develop more.
It's always important to look at the process. In fact, we're going to talk about that with.
If any of you out there would like to look at processes with the board, we would be happy to entertain that notion. So just get in touch with one.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. All right, so let's jump over here. We're going to run a fairly quick episode today.
Yeah, one more. Can I do one more thing about convention?
Well, let me zoom on in.
All right.
Boom, now it's you.
So one more thing about convention, same venue as last year. So it's the Meridian.
Courtyard by Marriott.
Courtyard.
On South Eagle Road here in Meridian.
Yeah, in Meridian. Same rooms, the venue, everything's kind of the same.
I was there on Wednesday.
Yeah, I know you were. So, and Carrie Grant has been putting a ton of work into this.
Yeah.
This is a shout out to Carrie Grant for her work on convention this year because she has taken the lead and is basically coordinating various parts of this. So congratulations to Carrie, and it's coming together nicely. And we hope to see you there. So
you know what? Can I comment on that?
Yeah.
This looks a lot like, feels a lot like members doing things for our members.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
That's a big deal to me, man.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Think about just the people that we've talked about so far today. You talked about Carrie, we've talked about Phil and Sherry, we talked about Laquita, we talked about my wife. She's out there on the sidelines helping everything go. You've got your whole board, right? Kim and Carrie and Sam and you and me. And then we've got all these people supporting the board, making things go along.
Right.
Mike Collins has been crazy helpful with us.
Mike Collins has been
in pulling instructors together. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we are way off topic, and we need to get to our topic because we've got 20 minutes.
That is the rabbit we need to corral. That's the No,
you know what it's important. I can't corral a shout out to our members who are contributing to
and all this.
Things go.
This is important not only to the board, but it's important to the organization that we all get together once a year and go over things just make sure everybody's on the same page as far as the organization is concerned. And the good news is, if you don't like what page we're on, you can show up and
Get
tell
involved.
us. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, help us out.
Yeah.
All right, let's slide right from that. In fact, we will, right into food with my meal. We talked a little bit about at the beginning.
Did you just cut our mics?
Nope,
Okay.
we're live.
Okay,
we are
good.
rocking and rolling. See, that's our mics right there.
I was looking over there. Yeah, sorry. Okay.
That's going to be confusing if you're not in it all the time.
Okay.
Because it's confusing when you are.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk about food with my meal. I'm going to bring our camera back, right? Here we go. Coming back into this camera, and I'm going to go to the next slide. We're going to run right into this. So we introduced a little bit about where this concept of food with my meal comes from, right? And it's just that I like to eat when I sit down for mealtime, and I want to eat. I don't want to eat ramen, okay? Not all the time anyway. I like ramen, but I don't want it. I want a higher quality
Cup of
food.
noodles, baby.
Cup of noodles. There was a time, right?
Still is a time.
There was a time. I'll leave that for another day.
Yeah, let's leave that for another
It
day.
involves spinach and ketchup and bread, and I had no money.
Yeah, let's leave it.
All right, so, yeah, right? Disgusting. So the first thing that I want to bring to bear with this.
And this conversation I had this morning, it's just like goes right there.
Does it go there?
Yeah.
Let's bring it.
Don't confuse busy with profitable. Can one be both simultaneously?
So that's the question afoot, right? Like, I want to ask you folks that very question.
Yeah.
Like, can you be both busy and profitable? Because the next slide is going to take us down a notch and hurt a little bit for those who aren't. So let's just go with that. So before we break this down too much,
Are you going to run the next one on?
yeah, we'll let that sit in our hopper here a little bit. I want to ask that question. Can you be both?
Move that to the front of your file cabinet drawer in your brain, because we're going to come right back to that.
Yeah, you know what? If you have time, I'll leave this slide here for a minute. We'll talk behind it. Write this down, because I want to come back to. We're going to come back to this here in just a minute.
Right.
Because the next slide in this batch, right? The next slide in this batch looks a lot like this.
Often busy is just poor time management in disguise.
Oh man, does that hurt, right?
It does hurt, because we've all been there. I don't care who you are or how disciplined you are. We've all been there. And then you go to your buddy. God dang, I was busy. No,
No, he nudges me because we are.
We're
super busy right now.
He is legitimately busy. I'm just giving him credit.
Busy is busy, right?
Yeah.
So,
but how's your time management? And so there was another. I was social this morning. Boy, I was all over it. But anyway, I ran into another thing this morning. Person I know on Facebook. I don't know, 20th wedding anniversary, some milestone, and I'm not trying to put that down. But their deal is that they ever since they met, at least this is what he wrote, on Tuesday night they have date night no matter what. So no clients, no nothing. They put that down. I don't even know the time frame. I'm just going to guess from 7 to 10 p.m. date night. That's it.
every Tuesday.
Every single
Good
Tuesday.
for the relationship.
Well, it's not good for the relationship. As I told you, it's good to take time off from all the hubbub,
Yeah.
right? To refresh your brain and
Well, you said
know
something
what?
to me this morning that was powerful, and so I'm just gonna go to that message. I have an ongoing chat with my buddies, right, Larry and Gordon, and I've been talking about what we're doing. I was saying that this has been a heck of an amazing ride. I'm actually looking forward to going to imaging.
Slow down.
To have a break, right? And that's an oxymoron.
It
Like,
is.
that just doesn't play.
Yeah.
But that's going to allow me to get away from my schedule and away from client work, right?
And take a breather.
And do some fun stuff. We're going to do trade show, and we're going to catch it. So we hang out with the folks from the North Chicago affiliate, and they're getting show tickets for Saturday night. We're going to do some fun stuff, right?
Nice.
So you said to me this morning, right here, good to see you busy, man. It makes the world go round. However, remember your mental health. There's nothing wrong with a break now and then.
Yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with it. So
Dude, that's so profound, right? And
nobody's ever said profound in my name in the same message.
But it is. And I think that we don't talk about that enough. We'll talk around it. We'll talk about make sure you're taking a break, make sure you're taking time with your spouse, make sure you're leaving time for your family. To me, that's what successful looks like, by the way, is that I can shut down my workday. I shut my workday down last night at 7:30.
So a lot of people don't understand this about me either. I shut off at 5. Literally.
Yep.
I don't. You've tried to get a hold. Everybody's tried to get a hold of me after 5, and if I pick up whatever device it is, that if I just so happen to pick it up and there's something, I'll give a big sigh and I'll answer the question. But as a general rule, when it's my after mealtime and after is my time.
I finished client work about 5:30 yesterday, and then
don't confuse that with sometimes you have to go over.
Yeah, I finished client work yesterday,
yeah.
and then I had to switch into this work yesterday, right? And make no bones about it, this is a lot of work to put this together. I enjoy it,
right?
Because I've got it finally working the way I want it to.
It's so much better than when we started. But the point is,
it's been a winding road, though.
Oh, absolutely. Right? The point is, you have to make time and make time for yourself, and it sometimes the time to myself is fun time for me behind the camera.
Great.
Like my time for if I go out anywhere, if I go on one of my fishing or hunting trips, I always have a camera with me, and I'm always dinking around with it. And my buddies are like, "Well, why are you taking pictures? I mean, it's dark out here." Well, all kinds of stuff. So
I do that with my cell phone.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what.
Just seeing what I can push out of my cell phone, beyond its
these stupid things.
Dude, this is crazy.
I know, they're nuts. So anyway, take time for yourself. It's important to do that. And I was impressed by the guy, again, 20-year anniversary, every single Tuesday night without fail.
That's amazing.
And he just said,
my wife's watching, right?
Sorry, Bob. But I just thought it was cool because that's without fail. They just do it. They just know. Tuesday night, we're going to go do something. We're either going to go out to dinner, we're going to fix dinner home,
I would worry
whatever.
that being that intentional about it might feel scripted. I don't know.
I don't think so because it doesn't. Because I don't.
Does it
know,
feel like an obligation?
No, it just said, "Hey, I'm looking forward for time, and I'm looking forward for whatever we do other than what I'm doing."
Yeah, I really appreciate the fact that I work with my wife full time. And we've had a lot of people say to us, "How could you work with your spouse?" We would kill each other. We're programmed well to work with each other, and we've been doing it for 20 years this year. No, 20 years next year.
So my wife and I work out of the same house.
But you don't work on the same job.
No, but I was wondering about that even.
Okay.
How in the heck am I going to, okay, I'm working on the house, she's working on the house, how are we going to manage conference calls, how are we going to do this? It's worked out fantastic. So, a lot of times you just don't.
So that was a change. I guess I'll glide right over that because I have questions about that, but I want to keep on topic.
So that was another rabbit hole. Good for you.
Yeah, I looked at the time, and so I have a session at noon today.
We have to
with
jump
a client
out
coming in.
Yeah.
My clients are usually 10 to 15 minutes early, so we're going to jump off in about 10 minutes. But
so the answer, can you be busy and profitable? The answer to that's absolutely yes.
Yeah. That was a loaded question.
That was a loaded question, and the failure of a lot of people, I'm so here's one of the things. Maybe one of the things you need to do to be more profitable is to outsource some stuff.
That's true.
So, and everybody goes, well, how can that be? I'm going to pay somebody.
I
can do that.
That's a multiplier.
Yeah. So, exactly. So you're paying somebody to do a portion of whatever it is you used to do. That time can now be rolled into go getting more stuff that you can push off to more people. It snowballs. I mean, you're.
If we were to do an episode called "Creating Time," that would be one of my leading points.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
I don't outsource all of my editing, but on my large-scale jobs, mostly when it relates to athletes that we photograph, I outsource all of that extraction work.
Right. So same when I was about 5 or 6 years ago, I was swamped with weddings. Swamped. I had
swamped
more than I could do. And it was so liberating to just send those files away. And then I could concentrate on the next week's wedding or weddings and know that my client will be able to get the pictures on time, yada, yada, yada.
That's a big deal.
So, huge deal. And it's kind of a be careful what you wish for, because it does open up your time to go get more work. So you have to manage that aspect too. So
well, and I talked about it last week. We've hired somebody there. She's starting at the end of the month.
Yeah,
Her name
I'm
is
excited for
Ashley.
that. Yeah.
I'm excited. I can't wait for you guys to meet her.
well, I can't wait to see what you're. I'm sure she's great, but I can't wait to see what she's going to do for you and this,
Oh,
because it's
she's
just
a
gonna,
multiplier for us.
Yeah, it'll just go.
I-
And Bob took his time with the hire, in my opinion, and I truly, if everything he says
Over a
is,
year.
yeah, and everything is what he says it is, this is going to be phenomenal. So anyway, yeah,
She's a
all
multiplier. In
good stuff.
fact, I see her leading me to hiring
Well,
somebody else.
here's the deal. Guess what?
What?
That was an outsource.
It is outsourcing.
Sorry.
I'm
So-
insourcing.
Well, you're insourcing, you're outsourcing.
Yeah,
So,
so I used this phrase the other day. I think it might have been, was he talking to you, Queen, about insourcing? So insourcing means that I don't have to do the work myself. But
I am
Bob,
so glad I'm not the only one that pounds on my microphone.
now. All right.
All right.
That was his microphone. Insourcing means that Bob, doesn't have to do that function, right? So, outsourcing, insourcing, getting somebody on board that can help multiply our efforts is huge to me.
So, and of course, you want to. Bob's done calculations. By the way, all of this stuff about the was it food with your meal? What is it?
I like food with my meal.
Yeah. So food, all this stuff about. If you're not pricing your business correctly, I'm not going to belabor this point, but there are a ton of resources out on the web about about entrepreneurs and pricing business, and it all has to do with the cost of goods of doing business. Is it the place you need to start? And he factored in the cost of doing this gal with the cost of doing business. So it all factors in, and that doesn't mean that Bob's going to run right out. He hired a person. That doesn't mean he's going to run right out and raise his prices. That's not exactly what it means. What it
I
means,
actually raised my prices in anticipation of bringing somebody on.
But to do that, he did the calculations well ahead of time and thought, this is where I want to be, so I'm going to do this here, and then boom, we're going to hire that person. It all worked out, I think, spectacularly well. I will hopefully don't have to eat these words. I don't think I will, because I think he did the right thing. So we'll move on from that.
Yeah, so
because,
the next slide,
we
asked a question, right? So let me do a little rearranging here.
Okay.
I actually have to turn that off. Let's do a little rearranging. I'm going to come back to our first slide, the question we asked. I want to talk about this for just a moment. Maybe we already have. So here's that coming across. Don't confuse busy with profitable. Can you be both simultaneously? We are in that space right now. We are very busy. You see the whiteboard over there, Larry.
Yep. I see it.
It took getting that organized, that anal about our calendar, and then once I had everything up, I'm like, these 4 people are with the same organization. I started contacting those people who had breakout sessions of their own and piling them into one day so that I could control how many times I have to do the same setup over and over and over again. So we were able to, we've got Idaho Strike coaches coming in. We've got, I had 4 people scheduled for 4 different sessions on 3 different days. I was able to consolidate those to one day. And then I've got 2 more coming on Saturday. Those were separate sessions. Like I had to intentionally reach out to these folks and draw them in.
So that's time management, right?
Yeah.
So you can go back to the whiteboard thing all you want to, even on your stuff you do around the house or stuff you do in your business. Start putting all the stuff on there. I mean, you use Trello also. I don't particularly like Trello. I would rather have a whiteboard than Trello, but that's neither here nor there. It doesn't matter what you use. Just do outlines. I mean, do outlines. I'm a writer. I'm a writing guy. So
I do too.
If I write it on a pad somewhere, 2 things are going to happen. I usually remember it, or I will see it later and it'll keep what I'm supposed to be doing. So but it doesn't matter, folks. You can have a whiteboard do it.
What does matter is that you find what works for you.
Right.
That's part of managing the business.
And then
you have to get organized.
And then keep with it. Yeah.
Yep.
So time management.
We use Trello because it's our workflow when things move between different stages. So we've got our leads and we've got our booked sessions, and then we have post-production, and then we have requires follow-up with a client, or we've got a client. We're waiting for a client to give us input on something, or there's just a myriad of things. That's where we manage our workflow. but our whole booked column, our whole booked list is on that whiteboard right there.
Yeah.
And so is our leads, and so is our post-production, and so is thanking the client. That's all visual. My wife or I can literally walk in the room and just look at it and know what's going on without having to pick up a device.
And your help will be able to also.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
All right, the next slide, and I'm going to make it a little larger for us because it's got a lot of words on it. I need to move that. Hold on a minute. Here we go. I need to move that in. Here's the slide that you're seeing. I'm going to just double check that. Yep, you're seeing that slide. Let's talk about this for just a minute. So we've asked the question, right? Can you be busy and profitable at the same time? I think so. And then we talked a little bit about what busy can represent a poor time management, right? Or a problem with your time management, or I should have said a problem with your organizational structure, or a problem with your workflow, or there's a lot of things this could be, right?
And it also, it goes right into the second sentence of that. Are you achieving your objectives with your actions? So that's your check, right? Can you be busy and do all this stuff at the same time? Well, there's your check. Is everything in your business getting taken care of, as well as your own mental health, as well as et cetera, et cetera? Well, if it's not,
it's time to take a look at it.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong somehow.
Right?
Yeah.
I've had, over the years, we're celebrating a decade this year, and over the years, I've had photographers come to me and say, I can't anymore. I'm quitting. I can't stay up all night editing to do cheap sessions for somebody in the morning, and nobody wants to pay any money, and like that's a whole nother can of worms to open, but that's when you have to say, look, stop and breathe for a minute. Mm-hmm. This is something we can fix.
Right.
All right? So that's maybe we need to put on the brakes.
Yeah, and as creatives, a lot of us go down rabbit holes.
Well, that's part of the brain, right? Like,
yeah, so don't, I know a ton of these people, and specialize in something. Don't go, I gotta be careful what I say here, because there are people that can pull this off.
It's a rare bird.
But as a general rule, specialize in something. You're not a headshot photographer and a pet photographer and a boudoir photographer and a wedding photographer and a senior photographer
and a race
family
photographer
yeah.
and a rodeo photographer.
Yeah.
You don't specialize in all those things.
Correct.
You've got to be known for something, right? I'm
Right.
glad you brought this up, because this rests squarely on my shoulders, because we have deeply niched.
Yeah. So specialize in something. Again, can it be done? Yes. I've seen it happen. I've seen more people that have tried and failed to do it that way, and we're getting back to what Bob said was, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm spending 100% of my time behind the desk. I'm behind. I can't catch up. They're basically a shoot and burn person.
I have several times had somebody say, I'm just not making any money.
Yeah. And that's when you need to step back, put on the brakes, and say, what's wrong? You got to go through your steps again.
So your $50 mini sessions,
yeah,
with 20 delivered digital images,
yeah,
on location. I just looked at one that I saw advertised, and I did some basic math. Just based on images, she was at $7.50
an hour
per image. No, I didn't do the per hour thing.
Okay. That's horrible.
$7.50 per product that you deliver.
And let me ask you this. I want to ask the general population this. Do you think that's her best work?
That's a whole nother topic.
Well, yeah.
But you're right.
It's not the photographer's best work. What she wants is she wants a paycheck, right?
Yeah.
Or he, whatever. They want a paycheck. And so they offer, don't get me wrong, many sessions work. But you can't go. They can work, but you can't go into it and do mini session after mini session after mini session. That's a burnout. That's all that is.
That's just a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Not much food, right?
So all this stuff, take it with a kind of a grain of salt. There are people that can do mini sessions, and they work out fine for them, and they have it in their plan, and that's what they do. Good on.
That
good
leans
on you.
into the concept that the only absolute is that there are no absolutes.
That's correct.
Right?
Yeah. Well, what's the rule of photography? Right. Break the rules. Right. So I had another
create
person.
Your own.
I had another person the other day tell me this. The way to do something well is learn all you can about it, and do it well, and then break those rules.
Yep. I absolutely agree with that.
I thought about that, and I went, wow. So that's pretty cool.
That
So-
ties in pretty well to our next point, which is our
We have
final
another-
point.
We have another point.
We do have another point, and it's important. So it's basically this. Third, so we talked about first, busyness check, right? Are you too busy? Are you achieving your objectives along with all of the busyness that you are enduring? Second, put on the brakes. Lean into things that complete you and back off on things that don't. And then the third major point here, Larry.
Yeah, this is a big one. So seek a mentor. So an experienced voice can help you avoid many of the pitfalls that come with entrepreneurship. So my particular mentor is Sal Sincata. And it wasn't in person, it was on Creative Live many years ago. And I'm like, whoa, who's this guy? And what's he doing? Because I had never seen that before in my entire life. And and the rest is history. I still don't know what I'm doing. The rest is history. And seek out some help. It's not a disgrace to say, I'm not making it, or I don't understand what I'm not doing right.
Honestly?
So you might have to. This is the caveat to that. You might have to spill the beans here on what you're doing.
You might have to cover some uncomfortable ground.
Correct. Yeah. That was
To
the
have
caveat.
somebody say,
Stop doing that.
yeah, stop doing that. A mentor can both be encouraging.
Or discouraging.
Well, I don't think a mentor is ever going to intend to discourage.
Yeah, let's put it this way. If
But
you
they're
ask,
going to highlight the things
Right.
that you need to improve, and that's okay. I mean, come on.
and if you ask them, it can't be discouraging because they're just telling you what they're seeing from
Yeah.
a completely outside view. I mean, it's like, whoa, I didn't even know I was doing that. I mean, outsourcing for me was a huge turnoff. I'm like, no, I want to be in control of those images that go to my bride, and I want to have it correct. Well, there's two things wrong with that. One is done is better than perfect. That's the first thing. And then the second thing was when you turn that process over to somebody else, that frees you up for all kinds of stuff that you can do to improve your business.
There is a process
Yeah.
to get to that process.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
We've
sometimes
probably uncovered more topics than covering this topic today.
it feels like getting to the point where you can outsource, or outsourcing is a process that you have to develop to make it work properly.
Right.
And it feels like stopping what you're doing to create that process to make that work efficiently.
Which is against your nature because you're behind already.
Yes!
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that basically sums up food with my meal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, it does.
I know that you know what we're talking about.
Yep.
And some of you do this better, and some of you need a mentor.
And some of you don't.
I need a mentor.
Don't. Well,
I have mentors, but
it's all or a group that you can go to, a mentor or a group that you can talk things out with.
Yeah.
And
somebody that's been there before you.
Right. And also this, you don't just necessarily. I talked about this earlier, and I know we're short on time, but Bob went out and did his cost of business, his cost of doing business, and then he worked in this gal that he knew he was going to hire, how many hours, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about is, like to have food with your meal. Don't just go out and willy-nilly raise your prices. Don't do that. But do have a business plan and raise your prices accordingly, and not just, gosh, I'd like to have an extra $100 this month, so I need.
Let's do mini sessions.
Yeah, exactly.
I need more money. I'm going to just do mini sessions.
Don't do any of that. This is all. Y'all need a business plan. So
We're
let's
going to
go
drop it right here.
Oh yeah, we gotta go.
We got to go.
Yeah.
All right. You're good with that?
Yeah, throw that slide up there.
All right. So,
yeah.
Larry,
Yeah.
take us down here.
PPOfidaho.com. Join us. Listen, it's probably, first of all, you can write this off on your taxes. That's A. And it's one of the cheapest organizations you can join that has as much expertise in it that I know of in the state, and that's PP of Idaho. So join us. PPOfidaho.com. Big button that says join us on there. It also has events, all that kind of stuff. And $99 a year, which is the thing, and that's a heck of a rate. If you don't have $99 right now, you can start in at $9.99 a month. What we do ask,
I did that for a couple of years.
yeah, but we do ask for a 12-month commitment.
Yep.
So, and for those of you out there that are on the monthly that want to jump to the yearly, drop me a line. I can fix that up for you.
All right, we're going to leave it right here.
Yep.
I'm not here next week. traveling to Imaging USA.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Okay.
So the week after, if you're around,
Yeah, or maybe I'll.
or maybe you'll run along.
Yeah, I haven't. I won't commit to that just yet, but yeah, maybe I will.
Great. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I got my
Got your stuff?
Cool.
Yeah. Folks, it's great to spend time with you and have an opportunity to talk into your space. And I'd love to hear what you have to say about food on my plate. And we'll see you again soon.
For sure, 2 Fridays. Thanks, guys.